was in LA recently, and I kind of sat down at the Tea Leaf and Coffee Bean opposite Grauman's Chinese Theatre and ignored what was going on behind my head until it reached Day of the Locust proportions. And I looked round, and it was the premiere for The Love Guru, and this man came screaming past me, screaming and said, "He never does that. He never does that," and sort of started breaking down. And what it was is he'd got Justin Timberlake's autograph. You know, they'd come across the road, and I thought that guy actually is what makes Justin Timberlake.
You're very good on LA, because I think theoretically you're open to every experience, every democratic development. But what's refreshing about the way you write is you have the courage to loathe. I love your account of the A-list party, for example.
Which again is the same sort of phenomenon, because when it is kind of Rod Stewart and Jack Nicholson in the queue for the chicken gumbo, it's not surreal. It's like being surrounded by mannequins. I mean, it's like some kind of horrible sci-fi story.
I was at one of those things, quite by accident. God knows how I got in. It was a set of flukes. But I walked into a party that was nothing but A-list. And there I was, no list, and it was the look on their faces as I came in the door. It was fear. And Paul Newman was standing about as far away from me as you, and he had a naked terror on his face, because in all his career, no one that he did not know had got that close to him. He dropped into a defensive crouch.
Like Congregates with Light, but the uber famous in particular have that need, don't they, for protective enclosure?
Were you there because your novels were being foreseen as future blockbusters?
No, I don't think that ever really seriously happened. Though there were, you know, I first started going to LA. There was some hope, but that soon evaporated.
I would have said that your novels, the refreshing thing about them is they're deliberately written so they can't be filmed.
A friend of mine said, "You've never really done film." If you know, he's known me all since I was a kid. He said, and he's a big cineast. I mean, he writes on film, knows film. He said, the truth of the matter is, you're not actually a film person. You know, you can pretend, but you don't have it in your bones in that way.
Do you want to be? I mean, Quentin Tarantino is a film person.
Yes, Quentin Tarantino is he's a pasticheur, he's not an original one. I think I am quite a film person. My problem is that what I'm not is good at suspending disbelief. It just shows the amazing variety of people, but I'm surprised to the extent that professional creators of fiction can still suspend disbelief. Because for me, writing fiction it's being at the side of the stage, it's seeing the flats. You know, it's understanding how to manipulate an audience in that way. And, you know, at the end of a day of doing that, I find it very hard to suspend disbelief in other people's fictions, particularly in film. You know, I find that very, very difficult.
And I think your books tend to pull a lot in, and the screenplay is actually a very spare device. Hardly anything happens.
Well, I think some people say the analogy is, you know, it's like constructing the scaffolding rather than making the building, though I don't think that's a particularly good analogy. But I mean, it was interesting when I was in LA a few weeks ago and went onto a movie set looking at the little yellow version of the script, the actual shooting script they work with, which is, you know, 2 lines of dialogue on a page. And, you know, 1 stage direction. And it's very, very bitty film. Yeah. And I think it has changed in the last 20 or 30 years. I think that the propensity, the kind of the MTVization even of the feature film. I mean, I think the exception was The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. I think that was the first Hollywood film I'd seen for a while that dared to hold a shot for more than a minute.